Here, this is humorous. North Vancouver RCMP were teaching people how to clean the snow off their vehicles. Yeah, if you're moving here from BC, and I mean like Metro Vancouver, BC, or Victoria, you may technically have lived in Canada, but you possibly have never had an actual winter. So one thing, you got to make sure your windows are clear of snow and warm up your vehicle before you start to drive it, or it will fog up. Also, that cord at the front of the vehicle is actually not necessarily for the vehicle running on electricity. You need to warm it up if it's like minus 35 to even start it. Anywho, that's your little PSA for moving to Calgary. Thanks for tuning in to the Calgary Real Estate Show. Got a lot to go through today. Some interesting news. I'm not sure if you noticed, but things are getting really weird in Canada. A little bit worse. So we're going to go through that. Then I'm going to give you a tour of a community called Abbeydale in the southeast. Pretty, decent place to live. I think you'll like it. And then I'm going to go through what you can buy in the southeast quadrant of Calgary for $500,000 thereabout. Hey, if you're moving to Calgary, that's my number below. Give me a shout, give me a text. Let's connect. Enjoy. Hi everyone. So I got some interesting news to go through today from the Financial Post. This is they're going over a report from Royal LePage. Buyers will come back before the Bank of Canada cuts rates, says Royal LePage. I think that's a lot of false optimism. I think Calgary is totally an outlier. We're going to do well, and that's just because it's cheaper here, and people have to live somewhere in this country, and Calgary's pretty nice. BC and Ontario, I don't think they're going to rebound until we see better rates. There's too many people in too much financial trouble out there. Beware of false optimism. Our housing sector in Canada has been such a good performer over the past decade or two that people are extremely confident in it, but we shouldn't be. Canadian real estate markets improve, but prices are still falling, says BMO, and this is from Better Dwelling. So the Canadian real estate market tightened, but worse than last year. December's in the national level, the home sales were 8.7% higher than a month before, and the actual unadjusted sales were a modest 3.7% higher, so it's not very much higher. Canadian real estate improvements not enough to end falling prices. So prices are still going down. So I don't know how that's much of an improvement. I guess they're going down slower, perhaps. And again, this isn't Calgary. This is on a national level. So national level, it doesn't mean a heck of a lot. If you're looking at one specific city, you want to look at that city. But as a whole, going down with the exception of like Calgary. That's about the only exception. Economists think inflation started rising again in December. So if inflation is rising, that means the Bank of Canada is not going to be dropping the rate. And that means that there's going to be more pain for people who have variable rate mortgages, more foreclosures, harder times for some people. So this was from January 15th. And asking rents jumped 8.6% in December to hit almost $2,200 on average. That's a big factor in the inflation numbers. The housing costs, the rent is a major part of it. Because if you're not owning, you're renting. The rent is insane in Canada, especially in Toronto and Vancouver, and actually Calgary, our rents are going up considerably. Also, some units have gone up like 25% year over year. So it's not as affordable here as it used to be, but it's still very much more affordable than Toronto or Vancouver. Onwards. Canada's December inflation dashes hopes of an early rate cut. Yeah, we're not getting that rate cut. The last thing the Bank of Canada wants is to cut rates too early, and the inflation comes back, makes it harder to kill. Inflation can be very sticky. It's like imagine a truck going down a hill. And once it picks up that momentum, it's really hard to stop. They want to really kill it. Our inflation rose to 3.4% in December. That's higher than they want it to be. And yeah, no rate cuts for now. I mean, probably sometime this year, but who knows when. We thought it was going to be last year sometime. Didn't happen. Canadian inflation accelerates. Moderate recession has kicked off. This is from Better Dwelling. So how did we get a recession? And at least one prominent economist believes Canada is already in a recession, which should lower demand and thus inflation in the near term. Maybe. Or maybe we'll get stagflation where the economy doesn't grow and inflation is still high. All right, this is from Ben Rabideau. Student visa applications from India are falling off. So with the student visa applications falling off, that's going to affect the rental market. Not immediately, but in the coming months and years. But that's probably a good thing because the rent is just getting too high here. All right, Canada is caught in a population trap. So because our federal government is really drastically increasing the number of people coming to this country, we are in a very strange place for a developed nation. We're in a population trap. And I'll just give you a quick definition. This is from the National Bank of Canada Financial Markets. So we currently lack the infrastructure and capital stock in this country to adequately absorb current population growth and improve our standard of living. So imagine a country, like a developing country that still has large family sizes. You're having like 6 kids, and despite the country as a whole getting richer on a per capita basis, it's not really working out as envisioned. Canada is getting to be that way, even though we are a developed country, just because we're bringing in so many people so quickly. And there's a very simple solution to that. Have more reasonable immigration. And these guys, at this point, we believe that our country's annual total population growth should not exceed 300,000 to 500,000 if we are to escape the population trap. And that's from the National Bank of Canada, not from me. Here's a interesting little... The standard of living in Canada is trending downwards, whereas in America it's trending upwards. That's not good. All right, onwards to our community tour. Take care. Hi everyone. I'm going to give you a tour of Abbeydale today. Abbeydale is located in the southeast quadrant of Calgary, just south of the Trans-Canada Highway and just west of Stony Trail, which is the ring road. Abbeydale is an often overlooked community. It actually has a low crime rate and it has 2 schools. Abbeydale School is the public school in the community. Although there's no high school, so when your kids get to high school, they're going to have to bus out of the community. Abbeydale has some great detached garages. So if you're looking for an affordable home with a detached garage in a neighborhood with a low crime rate, you might want to check out Abbeydale. The homes here were generally built between 1977 and 1981. but some of the townhouses were built in the early 90s. So with that era of home, you're gonna definitely want to make sure the roof's been updated. Windows, likely you'll want to upgrade them to the newer style. Siding, it's a variety of different exterior finishes here, and hail is always an issue in Calgary. Definitely over the years there would have been hailstorms here. You want to have a thorough inspection of the home's exterior. Sewer, you definitely want to do a sewer scope. You're probably at least going to have tree roots in the sewer, and sewers don't last forever, and that's what people don't think about. They're very expensive to fix, $15,000 roughly, plus or minus, depending if it has to go under a garage or who knows what. One major plus is that there is a relatively recently built shopping center just across the Ring Road Stony Trail on 17th with a Costco, Walmart, and pretty much all the amenities you need right there. The transit here in Abbeydale isn't very good. There's no C-train and there's no bus rapid transit system that services the community, so you really do have to drive. Now that being said, downtown is only about 20 minutes away, and Memorial Drive would be your route to get downtown. It doesn't get too busy. Abbeydale is a very quiet community. The planes generally don't fly overhead here, and unless you're right beside Stony Trail, which is the ring road, the noise from the roads are not bad at all. It's a rather picturesque community. I would say this is a great place for a family to live. I don't know if we're going to see a great appreciation in the value, but just given the affordability here, it's an easy way to get into home ownership without having to spend a lot more than you'd like to. All right, another helpful hint: if you're moving to Calgary, you need winter tires, because even if your vehicle's all-wheel drive, if you have summer tires on that car, is going to slide. This is Vancouver area somewhere, and nobody here has the forethought to get winter tires. So